So welcome to our afternoon session. Today the session speakers, myself, Petri Wallenius, I'm here presenting the German organization. And then we have Riku Kari from UPM. And the UPM itself, for many of you, might be not a company what you have seen as a branding everywhere. For me as a Finn, it's one of the most famous Finnish companies in our country, famous from paper forest. And most of us in the world are somehow every day are doing something with the products which have been produced by the UPM. And today's session, what we are trying to, or what UPM is bringing to you is about the business partner screening to counterparty risk management and basically third-party risks. And the agenda is that UPM is going to present them in brief what the organization is for. How did they come for selecting a tooling for them? What were the reasons? What kind of tools were there in the selections? And going through the project and the ideas for forward. We will then end up to the Q&A. And if you have in between the time any questions on the Q&A side, so please use that stage area Q&A, because we have two places. Use the stage area. If you happen to come from Germany, it says Bühne, and your browsers are always saying which language, on the browser languages are always those names. So I would hand it to Riku, and if you have any questions, please post them on the Q&A side. This stage.
Okay, thank you. And I hope the presentation is visible. So pleasure to be here. So Petri basically told us the agenda. So let's start. And yes, first you have to get the mouse on your control in order to move the slides. Yep. Yep, so a couple of words of the company. As Petri mentioned, a very strong name on paper business, and personal career in the company has been 20 years. And during that time, there has been a big transformation from the traditional paper maker as a Bio4 company. So new products, new business areas, and totally new product and business portfolio altogether. So fiber products, molecular, and wood products are the new ones. Although plywood, sawn timber has been there for day one, but let's say portion of the paper has been reduced quite a lot. So globally, 51 production plants at the moment altogether all over the world. Couple of big projects ongoing in Latin America at the moment. Biorefining or biofuels initiatives ongoing in Germany. So not at all traditional paper making business at all. And from the business areas, you can see that it's a long list of different kind of operators at the moment. And from the counterparty risk management perspective, that brings us totally new universe, risk universe, basically. So mature paper making business, one could say that it's quite easy environment, but on today's environment, nothing seems to be easy at the moment. So quite slow for some weird reason. Yep. Okay, so some words about the current portfolio. So biorefining is mainly our pulp business area. Timber, sawn timber, very concrete and old business area. Biofuels is one of the newcomers and growing one. Forest as a backbone, we are quite a big forest owner in Nordics. And then Raflatac, basically labeling company, specialty papers doing labeling and packaging, communication papers, newspapers, magazines, stuff like that. Plywood, quite a big one on trailers, logistics, concrete building, molding, stuff like that. Then energy, again, quite a new one in a way. So originated from the paper making, but now as an individual business area as such. And then the very, very newcomers, the new businesses, the biochemicals, biomedicals, and biocomposites. So, and the latter ones are especially on interest because the medical field is, for example, it's on the regulatory requirement, it's totally new area for us. Yep, so to the topic. As seen on the previous slides, 6 business areas plus the new ones, and then global functions, which are our main internal customers. Quite a lot of SAP ECCs, and then already now one S4, but at the time of the project, we didn't have S4 in place. MDM as a master data solution at that time, and still approximately 150 active counterparties, plus the private forest owners, which is about 200,000 more. And surprise, surprise, very manual DD processes and counterparty onboarding practicalities as such. So what was ordered in a way? So the DD one was obviously mentioned already. So we have to facilitate the proper one, harmonized processes, and sort of a embedded risk management was used or very, very early stages on the project. Centralization was seen vital because the topic itself is quite professional centric, let's call it that way. So it just cannot locate it all over the place. And I think this is a must on today's digitalization project, that you have to enhance something in order to get the investment. Yes. So then this is a actual reasoning slide from our project initiate phase. So we set the targets, we identified the issues, topics, and what was actually quite difficult was the in-scoping and out-scoping. And as seen, maybe not so self-evident, but we excluded the HR process totally. If it would be today, I think it would be included because of the GDPR requirements, etc. But at that time, it was seen as an out, and totally out. Enterprise risk management process was again out. Sort of the same story. If the decision making would be today, I would say it would definitely be in, because it's an essential part on getting the top level or risk umbrella, so to speak. Supply risk, price risk, very operational supply chain things not seen as part of the project nor the process at that time. What we have learned during the life with our solution and our people is that basically all those are tied in and somewhat interlinked in a way. What we actually did change in the very last minute of the project launch was the tax issues. There was a legislation change in UK where they criminalized tax evasion quite harshly, I have to say. And we took that in, which was sort of a scope extension at that time, but it was worth it. Yes, anything else from this one? I think this is more or less self-evident, and things are coming again on the following slides. Yep, so speed. And from the topic or the picture, everything is not always what it seems. So although the picture illustrates speed, but there was that kind of a phenomena that the white trucks of Crimea in the time, so nobody knows what they were actually carrying. And that was our situation when we were starting the search of the counterparty risk management mission or the deliverables. And actually it was quite hard to even find people who know and companies who know. So we were living 2017, 2018, and on the coming slide there is a list of sort of usual suspects or the companies who were delivering the service. But at the moment, when the project was agreed and the green light was received, we were sort of in this kind of a situation that we just watched the lorries go by, and they were white lorries in a way. We didn't know the players, we didn't know who, and it was quite interesting time. Yes, maybe to emphasize basically those latter slides. So as said, the DD process and onboarding, very scattered, very manual, and also partially non-existing. So at that time, there wasn't any of these big scandals on ALM, etc. So it wasn't a topical issue. So actually it was just the opposite. So towards our top management, we didn't have so many concrete cases that why this topic is vital. So that came afterwards. And it was also a difficulty to us to see the, how would I say, forest from the trees. So there was quite a lot of players where we showed this kind of slide that this is nice to have, this is nice to have, this is nice to have. I think majority of the audience have done that. But as there was no concrete cases and especially on our field of business, there wasn't sort of a good reference at all. So therefore we felt quite lost at times. And here you go. So our approach was that we were trying to start categorizing the suppliers. So integrators or sort of a big fours and the household names. Pricewaterhouse is not there because they are our external accountants, so they cannot participate on the control setups, etc. They assist, they audit, yes, but they were out of the game. Then platforms, that was I think the most difficult part because, and I was thinking when building up this presentation that what I would like to hear at that time. So actually it was a jackpot to understand that there are limitations on different platforms and data service and data sources. So at that time, it was quite normal that if you, for example, go to LexisNexis, they offer you only one reference data, and that's it. Can I have other one? No, you cannot. And for quite a long time during the project, we were under impression that that's how it's going to be. So we just have to select one, and then we are happy with that one. But we were actually quite far out on the decision-making process already when we learned that the S4 BIS was capable of integrating several data sources. And it sort of light the bulb, or it sounded nice, but to be honest, we didn't see the full benefit package of that one. But obviously, if you start to think about it, you have a freedom of selection of data sources. So you can actually making them as competitors. You can take specific ones from one and something else from the other source, etc., etc. So it opened up totally new horizon in a way. And then the second sort of a very, very vital information what we learned, and I think that it would have been nice to know early on, was that you can add different kind of lists in this one service provider or platform. The other ones, maybe not Pega and WinShuttle, those were basically very, very open, let's say this way, that you could do whatever. But all the other ones were very, very fixed. So if you want to do sanction screening, you do sanction screening. But with this other capabilities on adding different lists, you also open a new horizon that you can have internal lists and list for tax purposes, etc., etc. So it was it actually came as a decision-making factor. What is the word for that one? How modifiable the S4 BIS was. Yep. Yes. Then when we sort of had the players and faint idea of the tool itself, then we started to get requirements. And we get a requirement from our stakeholders, one being our CFO, one was CCO, even a CEO was saying something because he know how the sanction could hit him. So the first one I put was very self-evident if the process is somewhat understood. So the screening have to take place in a very, very early, because also from the regulator's point of view, it doesn't really matter if you have done business several weeks already and then you screen. So that actually proved itself to be quite a challenge because different organizations want to have their screening results on a different stage. Sales is wanting to screen prospects, and sourcing want to screen their tendering partners. But then on the balance side, how much you want to spend on the reference data, for example, and how big population you want to have. So that was quite a tricky decision where to put the triggering point of the screening. Well, monitoring, surprise, 24/7. That came actually from DOJ guidance that you have to have it daily. It was not seen as not vital to have it in hours because the reference data is not anyhow going to change before the day. So that was quite an easy selection. Well, risk-based approach is a must, no question on that one. Then we had a debate, and I think still have and will have on a centralized professional on a different risk categories, because I haven't met, at least on our organization, the person who is very fluent on treasury risk, environmental risk, sanction risks, etc. So we decided to go in the hybrid model. So we have our human rights environmental specialist in certain teams, and then sanction specialist on certain teams, and the core is sitting on the compliance organization. So it's I think no right answer on that one, but it was one of the consideration during that time. Yes, scope, quite self-evident. It's all or nothing, because when the regulator is starting to ask questions, then if you said that no, we decided not to screen these due to this and that reason, then you have lost the game already. And then the last one, quite obvious as well that if you screen and you have findings, if you do nothing, what's the value of that one? So and that also was one of the SAP strength, that integration towards our ERP environment was, or the master data solution was seen as a quite important part of this functionality. Yes. So basically today, and I think we have 2 slides or 3 slides left, so quite end of the story here, but basically all that was done, and we went live 2019, and yes, long list of interesting stories on the go live times, but I think I can share this one, that one of the main hurdles, let's say that way, was the accuracy of the data. Surprise, surprise, reference data is quite accuracy because it's based on the legacy and official records, but the company's own master data might not always be. And we were doing quite a lot of rehearsals on the fuzziness and the hitting ratio, and still are. But we had a sort of a solution before this one, and its track record was that it gave 11 alerts during its lifetime, which was 4 years. And then on the first go live rehearsal with the live data, I think we received 36,000 hits. And the population at that time was that couple of 100,000. So we ended up on having sort of a 4% of high risk, which in our language means that something needs to be done now. So that was the sort of a starting point, and actually it was a bittersweet moment. So we learned that the machine works, but obviously the volume was quite overwhelming at the very beginning. Out of this one, I would say the last bullet point, increasing expectation, how to engage, manage, monitor counterparties. It's a everyday dilemma. And maybe then coming to this one, that we are still, even after 1.5 to 2 years of live solution organization and process, we are still on the training. People are changing, new people are coming. So it's a never-ending journey, and building a compliance culture or responsible culture it's today, tomorrow, and next week the same story all over again. But at least the feedback from the businesses is that if the number one bullet was, I actually used this slide for them, is that basically what we are here for you is to give lights to your car, so that you know your counterparts, and obviously with these lights might detect the problems in a safe distance. So they have been quite happy that somebody is watching, and the alert rate that we are receiving, being a global operator, so it's not off their table. So they are receiving reports and they are receiving alerts. They need to do things. They have to react. So it's getting better and better every day. Yep. Future. Yeah. Personally, being a basic engineer and spending quite a lot of time in internal audit, so it has been quite interesting journey in legal department and this regulative environment, and this one, and the speed is and has been personally the biggest challenge. So in a sort of a mechanical engineer environment, machines work, then they are getting worse and worse, and then you invest, and you have a sort of a lifespan. And but in the regulative environment, there was a problem as that you never know which leg Trump was waking up. And one morning he decided that yes, let's sanction the whole Venezuela, and it came effective in 2 days. And I think the impact was altogether 1,300-ish companies. What was immediate impact, and that kind of uncertainty in the world was quite interesting. And for our population and volumes, we get approximately 1,500-ish new counterparties each month. So it was self-evident that human beings are not able to track these and monitor these. So therefore, the machines and the BIS in this case was the only way to go. And so far we have been quite happy. I was just 2 weeks ago showcasing the situation with our solution, like so that we have been able to expand the solutions landscape and capabilities, let's call it that way. I think I put it here somewhere. Yeah, for example, the tax things and even the financial requirements, EFRS requirements, can be detecting by that. And those boils down to those two main things that I was thinking, that what would I need to know if I would listening this presentation, and those were the capabilities of the solution of fixing the reference data and the list. So how modifiable the solution actually is. Because if we would not go for that one, none of those new applications that we have been able to utilize would have been possible. Yes, reporting is there in a bold. It's always the thing. There are quite a lot of things in the risk universe listed there, and basically all of those we are working today. And then the smallest point on the lower right-hand corner is the possibilities of the integrated risk management, which we are actually now looking for. But that's about that.
Thank you, Riku. Very interesting, and I think the audience, if you look at the slides carefully, you see a lot of forest. That is indeed how Finland is looking like if you're flying over. So, Rick, we have here a few questions coming in. Mm-hmm. If we start, let's go upside down from the top to down. So the latest one is starting from how are you collating and reporting? So I think what the question goes more, so what kind of reporting are you using? Was the tool enough? Did you have to do a lot of new reports, and how do you see the reporting in general on this front? You talked that a bit on the slide on the last one. So.
Yes. So basically we were greenfield in the business party screening. So no organization, no process, no tool. And obviously the reporting was there as a need from superiors, and basically we are reporting towards audit committee. What we crafted them was the incident number, the solving ratio, or how many days we are spending per case. And we were having a high hopes on having a geographical landscape attached with the reports, etc., nice dashboards. But we are not there yet. We are still in the middle of implementing the actual reporting, and for that one we are currently using SAP Analytics for Cloud.
Okay, very good. Then we have from Dave Lamp also a question here. What lists are you using and why? I think this probably refers to talked in the very beginning of this importance that you had a tool where you could use several lists, and you talked something about tax, but instead you had other ones. So maybe you could answer on that side as well.
Yes. So original project approach was that we were having a so-called certain cases. We had a list of 100 entities, which we either know that was owned by oligarch or owner was oligarch or it was Syria related, Venezuela related. So we had that kind of a test animal, and we ran through that with the different data providers and different solutions. And few ones gave us 100 out of 100. The worst one gave us 14, even though it should have found 100. We selected or ended up selecting Dow Jones because they were the only one who was audited annually by accuracy of the data and speed or publication speed. Obviously, there was Orbis available as well, but for our population volume, let's say this way, that financial matters came into play. We are utilizing Orbis in a very, very narrowed scope or sort of an add-on type of EDD searches, etc. But our main integrated data source is Dow Jones. And then latter part of the question was what other, well, we have this kind of a blacklist type of things that we are knowing that they are sending Nigerian or whatever letters. So that we have as well.
Okay, so you have the new millionaires who inherited
Yes.
the money and wanted to buy something from you. Very nice. I thought it's just a private thing which is happening, but understood. Then there is from someone coming in. How do you align with enterprise risk teams? Any tips for someone starting out on similar journey? What would you change?
Yep. I would start it as an integrated risk management approach. So what we have been seeing that our original task was only to handle the sanctions, quite immediately tax came into play as well. Environmental issues. Now we see in Europe that human rights issues are coming to the hard law party as well. So it's to come. So in our environment, we are having a not so happy place that basically, well, we are in a happy place when we have the master data population and we have the scope. But for example, enterprise risk management and different business areas, they are behaving as an individual businesses. So cooperation is maybe not so seamless. Is there a platform? Is the data distributed evenly? For example, in our case, if we have a high risk hit, we are basically distributing it all over the company. But if it's some sort of a business specific, the data might not be distributed. So for the ERM, I would say that it would be extremely vital to integrate the counterparty risk management to the ERM and the mitigative layers of the second line, whether it's an internal audit or environmental or whatever operator. So I think the military works quite nicely that they have a common command center and all the data is collected there. And I see ERM as such.
And I think that's the bottom line of the integrated risk management, which you're just saying that it happens on such a companies like yours, which are huge on our sizes, having a global operations, having a lot of parties involved that they traditionally have been separated, and the more integrated method would be probably more sophisticated for the modern world. So. Very good. Then there's, let's go, the one we answered already directly online, but there is a final one which I would ask here from you. This is to Riku. You mentioned areas out of scope, like HR screening. How are you screening employees today, and how would you build up a business case to cover this?
We are not. So our employees are our employees, and the only ones that are in our scope are our suppliers. As for example, I am a forest owner, and I am supplying wood. So I selected the buyer, which in my case was UPM. So I became a supplier, and therefore I was screened. But our employees are out of scope, and in future I don't know how it will work out, but there are some plans. But at the moment, that's the way it goes. So only customers and suppliers are, whether they are private persons, they are in scope.
Good. So I think in this moment I would like to thank you, Riku, extremely on the insights and willingness to show. And I know it's not always easy in corporations to get the allowance to show data and insights on this area. But it was very interesting for me. I hope the other ones as well. Thank you for that. And for the listeners and the people who are watching this online, I think you have seen today quite, you saw the Siemens case, which was from a BIS. Here we have especially the BPS part in the show, and it's quite interesting to see how the corporations are getting the benefits of the tools, but not saying that I need always a tool just to solve something, but there's a big business case and how these cases are really getting solved. So very nice to see. Our slides are not now showing, but we have a few very good sessions coming in. So if I remember correctly, at the moment, we will have next to come in is the Turnkey internals. So I think Simon Persin was advertising it as a three-way fight. What happens? I hope the guys will not get too dirty and not putting their hands bloody. Then we have SAP ServiceNow call and presentation as well. There's a final one, a story from US side from a SOX and UK SOX together with Richard Hand and US colleagues. So, but in this moment, I would like to thank everyone and thank you, Riku, once again.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.